So, the role of women in Islam. It's a topic that gets people talking, right? And honestly, there's often a lot of misunderstanding floating around. So, what do the core teachings actually say? In this explainer, we're going to cut through some of that noise and look directly at the source material to understand the principles of spiritual equality, family roles, and legal rights. Let's dive in.
So that's the big question, isn't it? What is the status of women in Islam if we look directly at its foundational texts? That's the core question we're going to tackle today, and we're going to walk through the answer step by step using the framework presented in our source material.
All right, first things first, where do we even begin? Well, according to our source, you can't really understand anything else until you grasp this one single core principle, spiritual equality.
And this quote on the slide really gets to the heart of it all. Their worth is based on piety and obedience, not gender. Let that sink in for a second. This is a crucial point. From a theological perspective, it's not about being a man or woman. It's all about a person's faith and their actions.
And check this out. This slide really breaks down that principle in practice. Just look at the side-by-side comparison. The spiritual scoreboard. It's identical. Same accountability for your actions, same rewards for doing good, same core obligations of worship. The source makes absolutely no distinction here.
And this idea of equality doesn't just stop in the spiritual realm. It extends out into social and intellectual life too. The source is clear that women have what's called recognized agency. They have a voice, a right to express their opinions, to give honest advice, and to be consulted on things that affect not just them, but the entire community.
Okay, so we've got this foundation of spiritual equality, but you might be wondering, how does that actually look in day-to-day life, specifically within the family? Let's take a look at the three key roles that are highlighted in the source: daughter, mother, and wife.
First up, the daughter. And this is interesting. Far from being seen as some kind of burden, the source describes raising a daughter with kindness and love as a profound blessing, a source of mercy, and even a path to paradise for the parents.
Then you have the mother, and wow, her role is held in incredibly high esteem. In fact, the source material really emphasizes that kindness to one's mother is a top priority, placing her in this unique position of honor and respect, pretty much above all other human relationships.
And what about as a wife? She's positioned as a respected partner. Now, this is really important. According to the source, this isn't just a nice-sounding title. It's actually backed by a detailed framework of specific and, this is the key word, enforceable rights. So let's dig into what those actually are. So, what exactly are these enforceable rights? This is where we get into the nuts and bolts of the legal and social framework. The specific guarantees that are designed to uphold a woman's dignity and her well-being inside a marriage. Okay, this slide kind of lays out the core protections. First, there's something called the mahr. You can think of this as a mandatory marriage gift from the husband. It's a financial asset that belongs 100% to her. Second is full financial maintenance, housing, food, clothing, all of it. That's the husband's responsibility. And third, there's the right to good company, kind treatment, and protection from any kind of harm. And again, the source is clear. These are not polite suggestions. They are her absolute enforceable rights. And here's something that really stands out about that financial support. It's completely unconditional. It doesn't matter if the wife is a millionaire in her own right, the husband's obligation to provide for her is still fully intact. According to this framework, her money is her own to keep, save, or spend however she wants. His provision for the family is his duty.
But, what happens when things go wrong? The framework accounts for that too. If a woman feels she's being wronged or her rights aren't being met, she has the right to seek a separation. And even in that really difficult situation, there are safeguards built into the system to protect her financial standing and her personal rights.
So, let's pull all these threads together. We've talked about spiritual equality, these honored family roles, and specific legal rights. So what's the big picture here? What's the idea that ties it all together? Well, that brings us to our final section, the underlying philosophy of a system that's designed for both dignity and social stability. This brings us to a key concept presented in the source, this idea of differentiated roles. The thinking here is that men and women have different but complementary responsibilities. It's kind of like two partners in a business, right? Each one has a different job description, but they're both working towards the exact same goal. And the source is very clear on this point. Different does not mean unequal. A different role isn't a measure of who's better or worse. It's simply about function. And that whole idea of being different but not equal is so important because, at the end of the day, the primary purpose is shared. The text states that both men and women have the same two ultimate goals: to worship God and to work together in their own ways to build a just, righteous, and stable society.
So let's just quickly recap. We've seen a framework that's built on a foundation of spiritual equality, that's expressed through honored roles in the family and is guaranteed by specific, enforceable rights. Which really brings us back to this one big question to think about. How is this framework of shared value and distinct roles designed to foster a stable society? It's the central question at the very heart of this system.